Hello and welcome to the Malaysia ground, the Navy Rugby grounds, where the Sri Lankan President 15 team is taking on the Johor Tigers all the way from Malaysia. And it is said to be a very, very exciting encounter here live from Malaysia. Both the teams are still settling in here as the chip kick from the Sri Lankan player found the Johor team as they now look to build play from their own half. A sloppy pass there from the Johor player, avoiding possession back to the Sri Lankans. They're slowly and steadily heading into that 20-meter mark. Here's an opportunity opening up for the Sri Lankans. All they have to do is to be a bit patient here. These are tough conditions here at Valisara. Yes, there has been a bit of rain around, but it is pretty humid. So far, the Johor Tigers have done well to restrict the Sri Lankans and to take them back a few meters from where they started. Space opening up outside, but intercepted there from the Johor Tigers. And sloppy work, knocked forward. And the Sri Lankans now do have a scrum in their favour. Cleans it out of the scrum. Despite not scoring yet, the Sri Lankan attack has caused some trouble for the Johor Tigers. Yes, both teams have been sloppy, but the Sri Lankans have been the better side as of now, and kicking the ball over, hoping that the player will get behind it. Was running from the outside, but unfortunately it was just outside of his reach. Johor Tigers will look to clear this out, but instead kicks it straight into that the Sri Lankan player, the Sri Lankan number 40, who was waiting out there to collect it. And Sri Lanka yet again in good position here, just outside the 20-meter mark. They will look to go face by face here. Again, space on the outside. A better pass would have made a difference there, but here's a very good opportunity for the Sri Lankans. A backhanded pass. But apparently they've knocked the ball forward, so the ball has been awarded to the Johor Tigers. So it'll be a scrum inside their own half, inside the danger zone. So the Johor Tigers should look to clean the ball out of the scrum and clear the ball as soon as possible here. They opt to run. Not the wisest of decisions from Johor Tiger, but as of now, it has not proved to be costly. But a heavy defense coming from the Sri Lankans. This time a clearance kick should come. It does come. The height is there, but the distance not so much. So the Sri Lankans will now have a line out through. Here's the Sri Lankan attack here. Not so good from the Lankans, losing position there, and this touch find has to be good there for Johor Tigers. And after a very, very long while, they find their way inside the Sri Lankan half here. A crucial line out through this is for the Johor Tigers. Tries to go deep, completely messes it. Scrum now in favor of the Johor Tigers. Sri Lanka has to be really cautious here. Here are the Johor Tigers looking to make their way closer towards the try line. Still a long way away. And they've won themselves a penalty here. Here's the opportunity for them to open the scoring in this game. Will they look to go for the 3-pointer, or will they go for that touch finder? A crucial decision to make for the Johor Tigers here. And seems like they will opt to go for the touch. Wise decision. This is from the Johor Tigers. Still early on in the game, so you should look to score as many points as possible. And when you can get closer to that try line, why not take the chance? And a crucial line out throw coming in just a few meters outside of that try line are the Johor Tigers. A better line out throw from the Johor Tigers, but slightly sloppy there with the ball handling. They've been dragged back by the Sri Lankans as well. So they will have to start again from outside of the 22-meter mark, and a bit of boot being involved, and takes play outside of the 50-meter mark. Johor Tigers have just taken themselves back into a longer range from where they were. Here comes the kick. Can the player get under it? Tries to do so, but doesn't really get under it. So the knock-on has been called by the referee. So will be a scrum for the Sri Lankans. The Sri Lankans will probably look to clear the lines here. Feeds it in, and he will collect it out. Will look to put the ball to the center field here, but the scrum is moving forward. This is good from the Lankans, showing a lot of physicality here, and here comes the kick, but it is well out of the range of that player who is running. Sri Lanka will be looking to get a lot of meters through this touch finder, and it is a pretty decent one, taking them way inside that 22-meter mark. The line out throw is good, and here comes that ever dangerous maul, and it has been broken, and Sri Lanka now heading closer and closer towards that try line. Advantage as well. Very, very close towards that try line are the Sri Lankans, and that is the opening try of the game. A very well deserved try that was, and now the Lankans have an opportunity to add 2 more points onto the board, and they make no mistake. It's 7-0 early on in this game. Johor Tigers will be really disappointed in the way that they conceded the try just a while ago. And they've made another error which will allow Sri Lanka to get into the half of the Johor Tigers. Here's the touch finder. Not as long as the previous one, but still good. Another line out through for the Sri Lankans. 7-0 on the board. Tries to go deep with the line out throw. Completely messes it up. The Sri Lankan hooker, Johor, now have possession. Despite conceding, they have looked good in patches, the Johor Tigers. And the kick comes in and no one really there to collect it from the other end. Here comes that high-hanging kick again, and very smart, very smart from the Johor Tiger player for not to put an hand to that. The ball goes out on the full, so it'll start from where it was kicked. Will be a line-out throw for the Johor Tigers, a very crucial one as well, from a good territory, just 10 meters away from the 22-meter mark. Hasn't been great with the line-out throws, both teams, and again, the collection was not good. The line-out throw was good, so allows the Sri Lankans to win possession. They will probably look to run this because they know that they have a heavier side, much more experienced side. Slippery hands, but advantage has been called, and now we'll come back to that knock-on. Scrum in favour of the Johor Tigers. Feeds it in, collects it. Excellent defence. This is from the Sri Lankans. Not giving any room for the Johor Tigers to march forward. Not rolling on, says the referee. So will be another penalty. And here's an opportunity to get close with this touch finder. That's a very good touch finder from the Johor player. They get really close to that whitewash. But they have to be good with the line out throw here. We've talked about quite often so far that the line out throws hasn't been the best from both the teams, especially from the Johor Tigers. Again, trying to go deep with it, but luckily there was a man waiting for that. Johor Tigers still with possession. They have to be patient here. They don't have to do anything extravagant. Just go face by face, march forward. But the Sri Lankan defence will look to see this off. The very well experienced Sri Lankan defence. Going centre field now, the Johor Tigers. Slight bit of space, but that has been closed down. Brings in that chip. Can he get behind it? No, he can't. Bit of impatience shown there from Johor Tigers. Trying to be slightly clever there, but it didn't pay off. So the Sri Lankans now have possession. Brilliant run that is. Beating two-man. And then now space opening up for the Sri Lankans. They've made all the way back into the Johor half. And the cross kick comes in. Advantage has been called by the referee. So we'll go back to that. Line offside. The Johor Tigers not so good in organising their line. So we'll go back to that advantage that the Sri Lankans had. This is in kicking range. But the Sri Lankans will look to go for the touch. And possibly to get another try on the board. 7-0 so far. The touch finder will get them closer to the try line. His previous line out throw was not good. He tried to go deep with it. This time he has to be smart because the Sri Lankans know that they are very, very close. And the referee has called stoppage. But we are back again with the line out throw. And here's that dangerous driving maul from the Sri Lankans. Can they make it their second try of the game? They are heading forward, but excellent piece of defense coming in from the Johor Tigers. They have turned over possession as well, but not so smart in that occasion. They should have tried to clear the lines, but luckily for them, Sri Lanka knocked the ball forward. So they do have a scrum from a dangerous position where they can't afford to make any mistakes. Valisira, of course, one of the best grounds going around in the country. Feeds it in, collects it out, will look for that man, and he will look for that clearance kick and doesn't get a lot of meters. The Sri Lankan defender there he was charging in. He didn't allow the kicker to settle in to look to get meters there. Still inside the 22-meter mark. Will be a line out throw for the Sri Lankans, and they probably will look to go for that driving maul again. Here's Sri Lanka yet again now with that driving maul. They are driving forward, getting closer and closer towards that try line. And this possibly should be the second try for the Sri Lankans. And it is the second try. Brilliant work from the Sri Lankan President 15's team. They makes it 12-0, and the conversion was not good. So we'll start again with the restart kick. $12 points on the board for the Sri Lankans. Johor Tigers have tried so many things, but nothing working out for them. Here comes the box kick. Collected well there, right besides the touchline. Well. Interesting call to come from the referee. The Johor Tiger player was asking whether that should be a red card or not. But the referee has just given a warning to the Sri Lankan player. Lucky there, really lucky there. And Johor Tigers will look to gain some meters with this touch finder. Takes them inside that 50-meter mark. Yet to get on the board here, the Johor Tigers, they've conceded 12, and yet again a poor line out throw. Intercepted well from the Sri Lankans. Very vocal there. The Johor Tiger players, they know that they can't afford to concede another try here because it's already 12-0, and they've let a few chances go begging as well. Advantage coming in for the Sri Lankans. The defender not rolling away in time. So here's the touch find. Flat, goes long, and takes Sri Lankans just outside of that 22-meter mark. The line out throw is good, and this time they opt to take the ball towards the center field. Some quick hands here from the Lankans. Slight bit of space opening up there. And this time space opening up on the outside. One good run could be a try for the Sri Lankans. They are getting closer yet again. Looking for their third try. Advantage coming the way of the Sri Lankans as well. Going towards the blind side, but will come back to that advantage. Not rolling away again. The Johor Tiger defense. Sri Lankans will up to go for that line out throw, and a good line out throw will possibly mean that they will go for that driving maul again. A bit of a hydration break here. These are tough conditions, especially for the players coming in from Malaysia. Different conditions considering how it is out there in Southeast Asia. Lot more humid. We'll see these constant water breaks throughout the game. And here's Sri Lanka with the line out, a good one at that. And very predictable, the driving maul, but predictable, still very effective. And this should be another try. And it is another try for the Sri Lankans. The third try of the game. 17 points on the board with the conversion to come. And the conversion at this time is true. So it is 19-0. Johor Tigers will be desperate to put some points on the board. But the Sri Lankan defense hasn't really allowed them to get any closer to that try line. The Johor Tigers did have the opportunity very early on in the game with an opportunity to go for a three-pointer, but they opted to go for the touch find, and again a mistake from the Johor Tigers, dropping the ball forward, giving possession back to the Sri Lankans. And the Sri Lankans not afraid to run the ball without looking for that clearance, and that didn't pay off in that occasion. And here comes the chip kick. Can he get behind it? Still going, but couldn't really get behind the ball. So we'll come back for that knock-on from Johor Tigers. So will be a scrum in favor of the Sri Lankans. This time they'll probably look to clear it without running it through from the behind. Again, Sri Lankans showing that physicality. Use it, says the referee. Failing to use, but probably coming from the sides, giving yes, exactly, coming from the sides, giving that opportunity for the Sri Lankans to win possession back. And the Sri Lankans have done well with the defense so far in this game. And his kick is good. takes place just outside of that 50-meter mark. Johor Tigers, whenever they've got the opportunity, whenever they got closer, some silly errors have denied them from scoring points in this game. 19-0 on the board, and we are heading towards that half time. Johor Tigers yet again with possession inside the Sri Lankan half. But that Sri Lankan defense not allowing them to get any momentum here. The kick comes in again. We've seen that quite often. But whenever that kick came in, there was no one on the other side or no one chasing it down to get behind it and collect it. Holding on, says the referee. Here's the opportunity for Johor Tigers. It is in kicking range. Will they look to go for the 3-pointer with halftime approaching? Or will they look to go for the touch finder? And as expected, they want points on the board. They go for that 3-pointer. This is in kicking range. Here's the place kicker with the kick. And the kick goes out wide. No points on the board yet for Johor Tigers. Again, that kick coming in, collected cleanly there from Sri Lankan number 15. And Sri Lanka returns the favor with a huge kick. Almost was a 50-22, but just keeping it there, in there. The Johor Tiger player. And Johor Tigers will now return the favor with a kick. And Sri Lanka have possession again. The Nippy runner just making his way through that defense of Johor Tigers. He has taken Sri Lanka just outside of the 22-meter mark. And Sri Lanka have an advantage coming their way as well. And the referee blows the whistle and we'll go back to that first knock on. So will be a scrum in favor of the Sri Lankans, but we will be now going for the halftime. And the Sri Lankans have a very healthy 19 points lead, and we are back again with the second half. A very dominant performance from the Sri Lankans in that opening half, scoring 3 tries, converting 2 out of them. The visiting Johor Tigers team has a lot of work to cut out in this second half. They have to be a lot more patient than what they were in the first half. Again, looking to clear the lines there. And this time Sri Lanka doing the same. And we don't have a clear view of what unfolded over there. But seems like that was a 50-22, and it was. And Sri Lanka are heading closer towards their 4th try. Here comes the cross kick. Is there anyone on the other side? No, there isn't. Very ambitious from the Sri Lankans. But they've lost position. But Johor Tigers still have to do a lot of work here. And they've found themselves lucky there, because an infringement from the Sri Lankans will avoid the Johor Tigers a penalty. Johor Tigers with the line out through inside their own 22. Again, not so smart from the Johor Tigers. They should have looked to clear the lines there, because they know that the Sri Lankan players bring in that rush defense, and this time they will look for that kick when there was not much space. And they didn't look for that kick when they have a space, and that has been the difference, because Johor Tigers has been playing that kicking game, but they haven't been aware when to kick and when not to kick. Knocked forward, not collecting it clean there. The Sri Lankan number 14. Still a long way to go in this game, and Johor Tigers yet to score. They're still struggling. They still find themselves stuck inside their own half. They have to find a way to get into the Sri Lankan half and create pressure from there for them to put some points on the board. Collecting the ball out of the scrum and running on his own there. This time, a better calculated kick. But there was no one on the other side to collect it. But Johor Tigers have got themselves possession here. It needed a better pass, but still Johor Tigers holding possession. They are moving forward, getting closer towards the try line. And they have themselves a penalty. They'll probably look to tap it and take it. But taking their time here, the Johor Tigers. The player caught pulling, Sri Lankan player caught pulling the Johor Tiger player inside the ruck. That's why he was, or rather, Johor Tigers were given the penalty, and the referee gave the player a clear warning that this is the second time you've done that. The next time, you might, or rather, I might have to take a different decision. Johor Tigers getting a small break here. And interestingly, they have opted to go for that scrum. We've seen throughout the game that the Sri Lankans have been very, very good with their scrum. They've shown a lot of physicality at scrum time. But Johor Tigers will feel like they have themselves the opportunity. Here's Johor Tigers. Cleans the ball out of the scrum cleanly. Getting closer and closer. Heavy defense coming in from the Sri Lankan. Space opening up on the outside, but opting to go on his own. Still hasn't found a clear way through towards the try, but they are getting closer here. They have to be slightly patient, slightly smarter, the Johor Tigers. Can they find a way to score their opening try? The Sri Lankan defense not allowing them to do so. Knocked forward they are from the Sri Lankans. Will be another scrum. Probably a deliberate knock on, and that's why the yellow card has come in. The numbers advantage now in favor of the Johor Tigers. lot of stoppages in this game, and this time Johor Tigers, they've opted to go for the touch finder, so will be a line out throw. And I've said this before as well, they haven't been great at line out throws, but they have to do well here. They do well, but do they have that drive to get forward here? Still going, getting closer and closer. Can they land it cleanly? Do they? Or is it held up? Ball held, says the referee, but the line was offside. So they do have an advantage coming their way, the Johor Tigers. Really lucky they are, the Sri Lankans, not to concede. But they have to be very cautious. Johor Tigers have opted to go for another scrum, just 5 meters away from the try line. There has been so many opportunities coming the way of Johor Tigers. They haven't been able to convert any of them. Here's another opportunity. The referee just wanted to check whether the numbers of the players were right, who they are on the field. And here's the scrum off, looking to feed the ball in. He does, collects it, and he opts to go through the blind side. Lovely work there, but does he get the try? He gets closer. He gets very, very close. Brilliant defense so far from the Sri Lankans, not allowing the Johor Tigers to get over the line. But they will have to do that a bit longer here, because Johor Tigers still holding possession there, but just not finding a way through. This time opts to go into the center field and finds a way through and gets the try. Try time for Johor Tigers. Their first try of the game, and the conversion, if this go through, it'll be a 12-point game. And he makes no mistake with the kick now. It is Sri Lanka 19 and Johor Tigers 7. Still 20 plus minutes to go in this game, and Sri Lanka have just been slightly sloppy there. Probably Johor Tigers scoring from the other end would have imposed some pressure on the Lankans, because they know that the Johor Tigers are just a couple of tries away from closing or rather narrowing this scoreline down. Here's the touch finder. Has the distance. Apparently doesn't have the distance, so an opportunity missed for the Johor Tigers. Will be a line out throw for the Sri Lankans. Good hands, really good hands, finding space as well. Numbers on the outside for the Sri Lankans. One pass could do the job. But there was cover defense for Johor Tigers. Sri Lanka have got themselves closer, but he knocked the ball forward, but Sri Lanka do have an advantage. The Malaysian Johor Tigers line caught offside there. It'll be interesting to see what the Sri Lankans up to do from here. They're up to go for the scrum. They've been good at scrum time, the Sri Lankans. Excellent work there at scrum time from the Johor Tigers. Look at that celebration, almost as if they've scored a try, because they know the importance of this piece of defensive work from them, because another try here would have been very difficult for Johor Tigers to catch up. They're staying in the game, and they've been good in patches. Tries to go deep with the line out throw and completely misses the pass there. So Sri Lanka have won back position. A backhanded pass. Fortunately, there was a man behind to collect it. 19-7 still on the board. Just over 15 minutes, or rather 16 minutes to go in this game. Here comes the high-hanging kick. Does the player have the legs to get under it? Yes, he does, but he trips. He trips at the wrong time, and his companion just knocks the ball forward. Very unfortunate. They did all the hard work to chase it down and collect it, but unfortunately he just tripped at the wrong time. Scrum in favor of the Johor Tigers. Johor Tigers still have a very long way to go from where they are towards the try line if they are to add more points. Still down by 12 points. Not so good from the Sri Lankans there at scrum time. Johor should look to clear the lines here, because the rush defense from Sri Lankans have caused them some trouble in this game before. Again, they've lost possession inside their own half. The Johor Tigers, This is exactly what I was talking about. The clearance kick should have come way earlier than when it came. Not when players are charging you in. Not when they are right in front of your eyesight. Finding space there, the big man. Puts in the pass, slots in the pass. Sri Lanka getting close here. One good pass here could mean it'll be try time, and it will be try time. That's the fourth try of the game for the Sri Lankans, and the conversion goes through. 26 points to 7. Johor Tigers. It will be an uphill task for all to catch up the Sri Lankans here. Did really well to collect the ball. And again, the ball control has not been good. Has not been good at all from both the teams in most occasions. And Sri Lanka have themselves a scrum. Ball available for the Sri Lankans. Find some space. Good run. This is from the number 43. He has got himself and the team closer towards the try line. And that will be another try. The fifth try of the game for the Sri Lankans. 31 points on the board with the conversion to come. And the conversion just angles away from the tees to the scoreline. Will remain Sri Lanka 31 and Johor Tigers 7. Play on, says the referee. Johor Tigers, an uphill task for them, but they'll try to score as many points as possible within these next few minutes. Just over 10 minutes to go in the game. Here comes that kick again. He has been very consistently kicking the ball there. The Johor Tigers fly half. And advantage coming the way of Johor Tigers as well. And they've turned over proceedings as well. Here's an opportunity for them to score their second try of the game. Roll away, says the referee. Can Johor Tigers get a try here? But they knocked the ball forward. We'll go back to the advantage that the Johor Tigers had. Will be a scrum. Scrum in favor of the Johor Tigers. Johor Tigers with the scrum just outside of the try line, 6-7 meters away from it. Not collecting cleanly. Could have called as a knock on, but the referee didn't have a clear side there. Here are the Johor Tigers. Completely. Well, again, the Sri Lankan line has been caught offside, so here's the opportunity. They'll probably opt to go for that quick tap. The Johor Tigers, because their line-out throws hasn't been the best throughout the day. Well, they go for the scrum. Yet a better option than going for the line-out throw, considering how poor they have been with it. A lot of stoppages in this game, because a lot of injury concerns as well for the Johor Tigers. And I've said this before as well, the conditions haven't been easy for these players, especially for the Malaysians. Very humid out here at Valisur. But now we are back again with the game. Scrum time for the Johor Tigers. Can they find another try here? Sri Lankans will look to not give away a try. Overcooked pass there, but luckily for him, there was another player. And the Sri Lankans have turned over possession. They look to clear the lines now with a kick. Well, no. They opt to run from the back, and they've lost possession in that process. Here's an opportunity for the Johor Tigers to score a try, and they do score a try. Sloppy work from the Sri Lankans. They had the opportunity to clear the lines, they didn't do. That allowed the Johor Tigers to intercept and go over the try line to score a try. The number 25 of Johor Tigers clearly struggling there, finding it hard to breathe. And the conversion is not through. Sri Lankans do have a decent cushion, but they look to finish the game well. We are in the dying stages of the game with Sri Lanka having full control of the game. They possibly would want to score another try or two before the game ends. Physically, the Sri Lankans have been much stronger than the Johor Tigers. Here are the Sri Lankans yet again with some quick passes, quick hands. Have found themselves inside the Johor 22, and they are getting closer towards the try line. If they score this should be the 6th try of the game for the Sri Lankans. They're ever so close towards the try line. Possibly one last opportunity for the Sri Lankan President 15 to score a try, and they makes it look easy. With the game just a few minutes away from full-time, Johor Tigers, they'll be desperate to score a try. Here's a line out for the Johor Tigers just inside that 50-meter mark. Goes for a shorter line out through there. Still a long way away from the try line, the Johor Tigers. Play on, says the referee. Advantage for Sri Lanka. Good run, that is from the big man. Just dragging the defenders along with him. Can Sri Lanka score another try here? That will put a lot of disbelief on this Malaysian side. They've already know that they can't come back into the game. But the best they could do is score a try and not let Sri Lanka concede. Here's the Sri Lankan player just slipping through the defense, and Sri Lanka yet again find themselves in good territory in no time. This time we'll go just outside of the post for another try. Making it look easy out here at Wellisera, the Sri Lankans. Johor Tigers with a very disappointing performance here. They do have another game coming up in the upcoming week. A lot to learn from this game for Johor Tigers, but Sri Lanka have just totally dominated at them throughout this game. And yet again, in good territory here the Sri Lankans, but the Johor Tigers wing has just found themselves march forward, and that's full time. A comprehensive win this is for the Sri Lankan Presidents 15 out here at the Navy grounds in Wellisera. A lot of learnings to take for the Johor Tigers when they come in for the second game in few days time. But what a performance this has been from Sri Lankans. They were sloppy, but they made sure that they correct their mistakes and end the game on a high. So that's it from here. We'll come back again in few days time when the Sri Lankan Presidents 15 take on the Johor Tigers right here at the Navy grounds. See you then.